Scope of comparative education. Introduction. Exposing students to the scope of comparative education will afford the students the opportunity to have an idea of other disciplines from where comparative education draws ideas or points. Objectives. At the end of this unit, you should be able to do the following: explain the scope of comparative education, discuss the purpose of comparative education, explain the reasons for studying comparative education. The content. The scope of comparative education. The term scope, according to Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English, would mean A. The area within the limit of a question, subject, action, etc. B. Space or a chance for action or thought. From the two, scope of comparative education means the area or areas covered by the discipline. The scope of the subject also connotes the various subjects or disciplines from where comparative education draws its information directly or indirectly. A critical look at the various definitions of the discipline no doubt reveals that comparative education is an interdisciplinary subject, since it relies on other subjects to be able to accomplish its objectives. As an interdisciplinary subject, its scope covers the historical development of education right from the Roman as well as the Greek civilization. It also includes the historical development of non-formal education in any country of study. The discipline has its scope extended to the purpose or purposes of education system of the country being studied. An investigation into similarities as well as differences existing in the educational practices of the countries under investigation. However, subjects from where comparative education draws its contents include the following: history of education, philosophy of education, sociology of education, anthropology, economics, geography, psychology, statistics, literature, political geography, political science, and international relations. The above clearly shows that the subject is not independent of other subjects. It is a discipline that relates to other subjects for their accomplishment of its aims and objectives. It may be reasonably concluded that the interdisciplinary nature of the subject has contributed to the wideness of the discipline. Purpose of comparative education. Comparative education, like other disciplines being offered in education institutions, is not a purposeless subject. In other words, the subject has some goal which it aims at achieving. While giving the purposes of comparative education, Hans 1992 concludes that the analytical study of these factors from historical perspective and the comparison of attempted solution of resultant problems are the main purposes of comparative education. It can be concluded from the above that comparative education tries to compare education problems as well as the solutions applied to such problems with a view of helping one's education practices. The purpose of comparative education was given by Malson in 1975 when he noted that to become familiar with what is being done in some countries and why it is done is a necessary part of the training of all students of educational issues of the day. Only in that way will they be properly fitted to study and understand their own systems and plan intelligently for the future, which, given the basic cultural changes that have taken place with such astonishing throughout the 19th and 20th century, is going to be one where we are thrown into ever closer contact with other people and other cultures. From the above, it is evident that the study of comparative education assists the learner to understand the educational systems better. In his own contribution to the purpose of comparative education, Marc-Antoine Julien de Paris, 1817, cited in Hans 1992 notes that purpose of comparative education is to perfect national systems with modification and changes which the circumstances and local conditions will demand. Like other education comparativists, the purposes given above is a pointer to the fact that the study of comparative education assists in the flexibility of education systems of one's country. In the same vein, Candle, cited by Hans 1992, was of the opinion that the primary purpose of comparative education is to discover not only the differences existing in the education systems of two countries, but also the factors that bring about such differences in the education system. Also, to Hans 1992, the purpose of comparative education is to discover the underlying principles which govern the development of all national education systems. Other reasons for studying comparative education include A. To assist in the understanding of one's educational institutions as well as educational practice. B. To assist in understanding of the factors that are responsible for various educational changes. C. To educate the students and teachers on procedures through which educational changes occur. B. To contribute not only to educational development of the society but also to the general development of the society. E. To serve as academic discipline. F. To assist in solving one's educational problems. B. To open one's eyes to the educational philosophy, theories and practices of other countries. H. To assist both the students and teachers of discipline in gathering reliable information concerning the education system. I. To assist in promotion of international relationships. And J. To contribute to formulation of countries' education systems. In conclusion, comparative education is an interdisciplinary course as it borrows ideas from other subjects. As a course of study, it has reasons of being taught by teachers and being learned by students. Summary. In this unit, you have learned about the scope of comparative education, the purpose of comparative education, and other reasons for studying comparative education. You have done an assignment that included mentioning 5 reasons for studying comparative education, and the reasons and the references are attached.